We've got Mr. Chuks Wachuku, a legal practitioner, joining us to share, or to give his impression, a perspective from what we've just seen. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Different accounts as to what has happened, but then we've heard from some of the key figures in that particular scenario. So having heard from them, looking at it perhaps from a distance, what do you think?
There are different issues here. You look at it from the legal issue, the legal angle, what has transpired here, who is in the breach of the law in this very place. What did the military go to do around Kano's residence, especially within the background of the agitations for independence of Biafra and Kano's ongoing trial for treason and his IPOB and all of that. Now, what exactly what was the military looking for when they went near his home? And how come the police were not even aware? Because from everything, it's like the account of the police, you could hear him saying that the police, gave account as they were told, which means that the military going down there, to confront a civil populace, the police were not even aware. Now, constitutionally, the military can be deployed only with respect to safeguarding our borders and then internally to quell insurrection.
But this was not a deployment.
This was, I'm coming to that. You can only deploy the military to safeguard our national...
Legally speaking.
Legally speaking. Or internally when you deploy the military, or they move internally. Because deployment is that the military leave their barracks. They take their tanks, their guns out of the barracks onto the street.
Are you saying that the army erred in carrying out this exercise?
Of course.
This
Operation Python Dance is unconstitutional and is illegal. It's an act of terror. It is defined as an act of terror by the Nigerian Terrorism Prevention Act.
No, you cannot say that. The army has that right to protect even the internal integrity when there is a suspicion, as our other guest said, when there's a suspicion or there's tension in an area where it's deemed that military intervention is necessary. So you cannot say that the Operation Python Dance is illegal.
No, I disagree with the person who said where there is suspicion of unrest, the army can be deployed. That's absolutely incorrect. You have the civil forces, you have the police, you have the DSS. Now, what is their job? The civil forces are to engage any situation of breach of the law by anybody.
So you're saying the army shouldn't have been there in the first place?
The army shouldn't have been there.
Let me read a statement from Oyegoke Gbadamosi, Assistant Director, Army Public Relations,
yes,
who said it was a group of, quote, it was a group of suspected IPOB militants that blocked the road against troops of 145 Battalion while on show of force along FMC World Bank Road in Umuahia Town, Abia State at about 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. They insisted that the military vehicles would not pass and started pelting the soldiers with stones and broken bottles to the point of injuring an innocent female passerby and a soldier, Corporal Kolawole Matthew, end of quote. So, from this statement, this is not a deployment.
No, I disagree. It is a military deployment.
If the military says it's not a deployment, you say it's a deployment.
It is, because you moved soldiers out of the barracks to the street and you call it show of force. Now let's just look at that show of force. Does the military understand that? The Terrorism Prevention Act, Section 2, says that it is an act of terrorism to intimidate a population.
But they were not intimidating this population.
What is the meaning of show of force when you bring armored personnel carriers to a civilian? This is not a place where there is armed insurrection.
Were they close enough to the house?
They were close enough. You could see the pictures. They were close enough. They were close enough.
So that to you is terrorism.
That's terrorism. When you deploy the military against a civil and an armed and peaceful civil populace to show force. What is the meaning of showing force? It's to psychologically traumatize the people, with the presence of arms.
Okay, because we've seen the show of force happen with the police, we've seen it with the army, we see it in different countries. But about this scenario, we also have seen some days or so for some weeks now how some activities have been going on, some comments coming through from IPOB about elections not holding. Now, if you say that this is, did you say illegal for them to deploy, even though they say it's a show of force, they were passing. But
what are they doing there? The military,
let me land on the
passing
question.
somebody home and force road.
Just a minute. Let me land on the question. Now, going by their statements, when they say we were passing.
Yes.
But you also know as a lawyer that there's freedom of movement. So do the IPOB members have a right to, assuming without considering that the statement is right, but this is what they've said. If they were passing, do another group have another right to intercept and begin to pelt? Now, looking at it legally.
Yes, they don't have a right to pass in that sense. You don't have a right. You don't have a right to begin to move military troops, around my place. You want to frighten me. Of course, I would want to.
No, that's not my question.
Yes.
My question is, if a group was passing.
Yes.
And going by the law, which says different people, you have freedom of movement and association in this country.
Right.
So if that group is moving through, and those another does IPOB have the right, or another group of people have a right to intercept and begin to pelt?
If the movement is construed reasonably as an attack or an invasion of somebody's privacy, there is the right to privacy, there's a right to property. And when it comes to defending your property, you have every right. Now, when the military leaves its barracks and moves into a civilian area where there has been no breakdown of law and order, that's where I come again. The military, you deploy the military where there is breakdown of law and order. Well, what do you mean by breakdown of law and order? You have breakdown of law and order when the police cannot function, the courts cannot function.
You keep using the word deploy, but they say this is sure us. We were passing.
What is Operation Python dance? Then when we talk about deploying, what were they going to do? Can't just leave the military, can't just leave the barracks for the sake of fun.
But they've been there.
A show of force.
That's exactly what I'm saying, that is a deployment. Because anytime you feel that security is threatened and then you are sending the military to quell that situation, that's a deployment of the military. That's a deployment, that's internal deployment of the military. Operation Python dance, from everything that they have said, is the deployment of the military to the southeast. I call it an invasion of the southeast. For the purpose, they said, they tried to justify it.
No, that's hate speech. We're not going to allow that to happen here. Because the army has maintained that it was carrying out an exercise. And you are trying to turn that around to suppose that there is an attack on Nnamdi Kanu and his compound. How do you justify that?
No. You said the army said they are carrying out. Look at my premise. You don't move the army around anyhow for any reason. There has to be a reason for the exercise, for the military exercise. There must be a reason. And the Constitution has given you the reasons for military exercise. Armed insurrection, total breakdown of law and order. Do you have that situation where you went to?